Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I saw a Valentine's meme come through that was created by bodybuilding.com. It's got their logo on it, and this made me think of a few things. So let me put on my +5 out of weaponsmithing, work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. Alright, the reason that I say that is because this meme is indicative of several things that that particular company know that they get out of their audience, that they know that's going on with their audience. And a lot of it has to do with people getting to a point where their training and their obsession with their training to where they honestly think the gym or their training or their fitness or bodybuilding lifestyle can in some way be a replacement for truly meaningful human interaction and relationships. Whether they be friendships, romantic, sexual, whatever they happen to be. And the truth is, that's a very, very sad way to look at things. And, I think a lot of this gets started, not necessarily by the initial gym obsession, but I think it's rather the idea that companies like this have promoted these ideas for a lot of guys, and they've always allowed this to be fed into their communities and into the message that a lot of guys who are socially awkward, they lack confidence, they lack the ability to really meet girls. Maybe they've been rejected by girls. For whatever reason that happens to be. There could be a lot of different reasons. Either their look, something with their personality, something weird about them. Could be just a weird hobby they have. Like, for example, I knew a guy who, was obsessed with brony. He was a brony and into the My Little Pony thing and couldn't get a girlfriend. And every girl he met thought it was weird and he couldn't understand why. People have weird obsessions sometimes that other people don't always get. And, maybe that obsession gets in the way. Or it just could be that they're shy. It doesn't even have to be anything weird about them. They're just shy. And a lot of guys, they see guys like Ziz, or they see the guy in the movie or whatever who's muscular and has a great body and everything, who attracts women. And that is a lot of what these companies promote. Supplement companies that sell programs, meal plans, everything like that. They promote this idea that maybe if you're struggling to get girls, that if you had a fantastic body, that women are going to flock to you. And they sell this idea. And the reality is it's not really true. And in fact, I was joking with a guy the other day, a guy 1 year older than me, he's 41, who I know, owns a gym. Guy does a little bit of bodybuilding, a little bit of powerlifting, still in fantastic shape. A guy is actually leaner and bigger than I am, at a year older than me. So, is what it is. And he joked about that he thought when he started lifting too that it would attract women. He goes, and it's funny because it doesn't. It attracts other men. And that's always a joke. Everyone knows that who's been in the iron game a few years. They start to get that. They understand that. You don't really attract that many women with it. And at best, a nice physique's going to be a foot in the door. If you don't have anything else to back it up, it's not going to get you very far. Like, the amount of work you're going to put in versus actually meeting women or even getting laid may not be what you think it's going to be. In fact, it can oftentimes lead to loneliness, because when you get too obsessed with the gym, too obsessed with training, it will put other people off. All right, and it's not because they lack discipline. They'll say, "Oh, well, women just like discipline," or they don't want a guy who looks better than them. No, they don't want a guy who's totally self-absorbed and obsessed with his own looks. They don't like that. Women have to put way more effort into their looks than men do. All right, women have to. They have to. Women are judged by their looks 10 times more than men are. Every woman knows that. They already have to worry about that all the time. Most of them don't want a man who worries about the same stuff. All right. Majority of women, they're like, look, having to deal with my own shit's enough. I don't need a man who feels he's going to be judged by his looks too. I already got to do enough of this shit. So if you come across as really obsessed with it, it's going to make it harder to meet girls. They might think you have a nice looking body. They might even find it attractive. But the other elements, the social elements of it, the attitude elements of it, can put them off. Plus, they've met a lot of guys who are serious into their training who are total douchebags. A lot of women start finding that out really quick. And it's not that it's necessarily true, but there is that douchebag stereotype. And you guys know what I'm talking about. They are out there. And it's not necessarily true of all lifters, because it really isn't, but it is an existing stereotype. So you have all that, and what ends up happening, a lot of guys end up struggling to meet girls. They get into the training, they start getting a better body, and they still find themselves unable to meet women. they still find themselves single. And companies like that want to market to that. They'll be like, oh yeah, you don't got a Valentine's, with the gym is your Valentine. That's all you need. Now buy our products. That's kind of where the line goes next with it. They acknowledge the fact that they know their fan base. A lot of them struggle with that. A lot of them still are single, particularly the young guys who are really obsessed with training because they're hoping it's going to help them meet girls, and it ends up pushing away just as many as it might attract. So they end up no better off because they still haven't fixed what's wrong with why they're not meeting girls. Maybe they're still shy. Maybe they're still socially awkward. And you know what? It's sad because the truth is, and a lot of women start to learn this. Younger girls don't get this. A lot of the shyer guys are actually the nicest guys, and that really is true. That really is true, and younger girls don't always get that. As they get a little older, they realize the shy guy is probably pretty nice. And it's unfortunate that you see that because a lot of the shy guys go over to the lifting world, and then they get kind of stereotyped as something else because they get into training and they're really just the shy guy, who probably really is a nice guy deep down. 7 out of 10 times. So they know they're marketing to that. They know they're marketing that, and they love to put out a message like that because it's like, well, at least we can keep them hooked in as customers. And then the problem is it reinforces that idea that, if I can't meet a significant other, I can't find the right one, at least I got the gym. Again, implying that the gym and the lifestyle can actually replace meaningful human relationships. And, the truth is, it will make it, when you see it that way, it will make it even harder. It'll make it even harder to meet people because then you're going to become that douchebag. Because once you actually develop that mentality that you consider the gym to be more important than your actual human relationships, when it takes priority over those and becomes that obsession, that is where that douchebag stereotype comes from, because that oftentimes happens. Then it makes you come across as narcissistic, self-absorbed, all of those negative things, all those negative stereotypes do start to come out at that point when people do reach that point, and you see that a lot. Unfortunately, because that's where it comes from. Self-absorbed people who only care about the gym and their body and everything else. Because it's easy to reach that point. Well, particularly if you've been rejected enough, and you train, and now you build up a more impressive physique, more size, more strength, and then your confidence comes up, but then you've been rejected so much that you start to develop that, well, the gym's more important anyways. Fuck bitches, make gains. You guys know what I'm talking about. Tons of guys have that attitude. But then chicks pick up on that. Other people pick up on that. Other people pick up on that. And a lot of guys will realize too, even other dudes will oftentimes pick up on that. And then they're not going to like it. They don't even want to be around you and try to take out girls or to pick up girls and stuff. It can cause a lot of problems in your life. And the problem is that in the end, it reinforces that obsession with training. And you know what? I don't want to say that obsession with training is always a bad thing, because it's not. I mean, I competed in powerlifting. I busted my ass when I was training to compete for powerlifting meets. I mean, you guys have seen it on camera. You saw a lot of what I put myself through. There's a point of obsession for improving yourself and bettering yourself, but there's a fine line. There's a very fine line between obsession that leads to self-improvement and obsession that becomes a negative in your life. And it can become an obsession that leads to negatives in your life when your obsession with the gym starts costing you your health. All right? Maybe too much bulking and cutting. Getting too fat, bulking too much, then getting too lean, cutting too much, getting too lean, yo-yo dieting back and forth. How about starting to abuse drugs? And I don't mean even a little bit of casual gear use. I'm talking about really abusing drugs. It's real easy to do when you cross that line to where the gym and training are all that matter. People will put their health second. That attitude develops quickly. When it starts interfering with your social life, I mean, I read about a guy who, some time back, he admitted he was so obsessed with the gym and getting his 5 workouts in a week, and it was his arm day, and he knew that his dad was in the hospital dying, and he wanted to get up there, but he had to finish his arm workout first, and he barely missed his father dying because he completed his arm workout. Instead of getting to the hospital, his dad died like 15 minutes before he got there. But it was arm day. And it's going to be a point in that guy's life, because I read that like 10 years ago. There's going to be a point in that guy's life where that's going to hit him really, really fucking hard. That he put his arm day above speaking his last words to his father when he was on his deathbed and he missed it. And it starts interfering with meaningful human interaction. All right, that becomes a problem in your life. When it starts hurting your health, when you start getting hurt, when you start getting injured, when your health starts to suffer for it, when meaningful human relationships start to suffer because the fucking gym, bro. The gym is my Valentine. When you lose relationships, maybe you don't get with maybe a significant other who might have really been a good match for you in other ways because your gym obsession got in the way too early on or immediately. Or you miss your father's death. Maybe you miss the birth of your first niece or nephew because you're at the gym. There comes a point where that obsession can start to cost you things in your life. And again, that community that promotes that, the gym is my Valentine mentality, also promotes that level of obsession that becomes a negative in your life. And it's important to lead a balanced life. I'm not telling people not to train. I'm not telling people not to try to get to a 500-pound squat or a 600-pound deadlift if that's your goal. I'm not telling you to not try to get to 17-inch arms if that's your goal. I mean, if that's something that's important to you and you want to do, then fucking do it. Get out there and fucking do it. But don't let it become an obsession that interferes with important things in your life, valuable events, valuable human interactions, important things that you really are going to wish that you hadn't missed one day. Because you know what? You're not going to keep all those gains forever. You're not going to keep them all forever. As we get older, they do fade. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.